The wheels. So now the wheels, we looked at different examples of the wheels. Um, People sort of treat them differently. I think on the examples, I had a couple of different examples here for this where people did like more blocky wheels. I think this one had round wheels, but then the other one had the other ambulance example. They had more like they really went for like the low poly look, so they had even like the wheels had sort of were angular. So depending on which one you want to do, it's up to you. You could certainly, you don't have to actually model that and try and pull it out, because at this point that would be very difficult to try and model it as one piece and to pull those shapes out of your current object that you're working with. I would definitely suggest there's no reason why you have to make this all, oops, that's the wrong program. Sorry, that's my screen share. You do not have to make it all one piece. Okay, at this point, I would say if you want to add wheels to it, there's no reason why you can't go and use a primitive for it. Okay, so maybe I want to use a torus, or maybe I want to use a tube. Depends on the look that you're going for, how low poly you want it to be. But I would definitely go and like say I want to grab a tube because I want to have angles to it maybe. You could also smooth that out. You don't have to keep it that way if you don't want to. Let me switch this. There we go. X plus. And then now if the thing that you would want to think about is if you wanted to add the wheels and you're going to use like a primitive, but you didn't want to have it do this, where you're like putting it against the car and you're either like keeping it outside of it, which obviously will change the profile of it, or if you're trying to inset it like this, then you have it overlapping. So you might want to, that would be a thought about if you wanted to try and model the like sort of the wheel well here that's going on. You could try and model that. You could try and bool that. Like if I wanted to make a hole there for that, what I might actually just want to do is get a bool. I would probably leave this towards the end though. Let me get a bool and put the cube in there, and then put the tube in there, and cut the hole out. And then I would have to have another copy of that so that I have my wheel, which needs to probably be a little smaller now. Okay, or you could try cutting that yourself. That's up to you. But if you remember from our when we talked about using bools, if you remember that lecture, it was a little while ago, but all those videos are obviously still on Blackboard. If you wanted to use bools to cut it, you would definitely have to use another object if you want to do all four. Okay, because if you want to do all four, you have to use the connect object to get more than one cutout in there. So I would have to do a connect and put the tube in there, and then I would have to get a couple more of them and put them also in the connect object, or else you're not going to have the bool will only prioritize one shape. It will not do more than one. So if you don't have the connect object to assist you, then it's not going to understand what you're trying to do. Okay, so you're gonna have to use the connect object if you're gonna try and cut all four holes out for the wheel at once. But again, this is everything I'm doing is just sort of like just playing around, experimenting. I'm not saying you have to do it this way. You can certainly model it. There's 10 million ways to approach this. This is also something where I think there's quite a few tutorials people have made online. So if you watch a tutorial, you might find that they're doing something completely different. So I think the goal here is how you approach it is going to be more about like what you're trying to go for, like look wise, and what you're trying to make it look like, and what kind of shapes you want, and overall what kind of car. Mine is pretty skinny, so in the grand scheme of things, I would have made it thicker. and I would definitely address this more. But again, I'm just doing stuff like sort of rough and quick so that you could get the idea of how you could be working with these tools. But I'm not saying that you have to model exactly like this, because that's part of the fun here. Is you get to experiment now, and you get to try things out, and you get see what works for you. But at least there now I've got like a general car shape with wheels. It doesn't have interior wheels, but again, I could use another primitive here to do like the hubcap or something like that. I don't have to keep it blank like that. Get a Taurus or a disc, or I can get a Taurus or something like that, and fill it in. If I want more dimension to it, maybe I want to use like an oil tank so that it sticks out a little bit. That might be a fun shape to play with. But you do not have to build this completely out of modeling tools. If you want to use some primitives to do some shapes as well, that's totally great as well. At this point, we've learned a lot of different ways that we can make things. If you wanted to spline some things, if you wanted to use primitives, that's okay. But the goal here, at least for this assignment, was to, do at least a good bit of the body. You would need to use modeling tools. It would be hard to build the body with just like primitives, and if you did, you would have to use a lot of them. So at least for the body, you'll probably be using inner extrude and extrude, maybe loop cut, depending on what you're trying to do. But certainly for other things that you're seeing here, you can definitely utilize other shapes if you want. So like for the example here, you can see that they have all of this stuff here, the little square headlights that they have, and the bumper here, that all can be extruded. This is something that you could definitely extrude. But things like this little guardrail up here, like if you were going to put a bike up there, or like the mirror, then you could try to extrude them, or you could try and use another primitive or something like that. So lots of different ways you can approach it.